Teachers are always on the lookout for new ways to inspire and engage students. In our next story, we look at two teachers in Lethbridge School District 51 who've developed unique ways of teaching middle school science.
These two hydraulic rams will pick up the loader arms, and these two hydraulic rams will dump the bucket up or down. Okay?
In Kyle McKenzie's grade 8 science class at GS Lakie, tractors and semi-trailers are almost as common as textbooks and test tubes.
Anytime I can get away from using the textbook, I like to jump at the opportunity. My philosophy has always been trying to make the theoretical applicable.
Kyle is a teacher who believes in bringing science to life.
I'm long gone.
Whether he's teaching about chemical reactions or maybe human body systems, Kyle believes hands-on experiences are the best way for students to learn.
Anytime you can throw an explosion in the mix, it certainly doesn't hurt. My principal might disagree, but I certainly find that the kids they're way more engaged, and you find that their hands start going up more often, and they start asking more questions, and that's great from a teacher's perspective. That's where I really get excited about teaching. The students, when they can actually lay their hands on a heart or a liver or a lung, they really seem to have a much deeper understanding and connection to it than if it was just out of a book or on video.
Over his 9 years of teaching, Kyle has developed some interesting ways to demonstrate scientific principles. These students are learning the power of pulleys by pulling a Jeep. And pneumatics are best explained while students are under a semi-trailer.
When they're under there and they can see how the brake cages are expanding, how the push rods are being pushed, how that's torquing on the S-cam, and how that's clamping down on the brake pads, they see all these different linkages. They see how they're pneumatically driven. I think there's a lot of shock value there as well, but that shock value certainly equates to a better understanding and better learning.
His students seem to agree.
It's been my most interesting year of science.
We don't just sit in a classroom all day, we actually do experiments. And I find like when we do experiments, it's hands-on work, so I find that we learn better.
Yeah, I learn better hands-on because I guess you just get to experience what you're learning.
Across town, at Gilbert Paterson Middle School, grade 6 students are learning the science of food through the baking of muffins. They're enrolled in Cynthia Greenfield's options class called Foodology.
It's kind of like foods, but it's actually getting into the science part of it. Like if you're a baker, you know the ingredients, but do you know about the ingredients? It's kind of like that.
Students in Cynthia's class bake and analyze food, discovering how ingredients work together and how they affect the final product.
I would say it's more of a science option than a foods option. So the experimental method is like from day one, we started the very first day a popcorn analysis lab, and pretty much every topic that we've covered so far, we've gone through the experimental methods. The students need to identify the variables, decide what they need to control so that you have a fair test, and then come up with a conclusion based on that.
They're also exposed to a wide range of food-related scientific principles. They've extracted DNA from strawberries and debated the pros and cons of GMOs.
A GMO is a genetically modified organism. It's where they will change the DNA of a food to make it with a specific order that they want. I don't mind them because I eat them all the time, but it also depends on what they're changing.
Foodology has been a hit with students at Gilbert Paterson, possibly because food-based classes often attract a lot of student participation. But Cynthia has high expectations for this class and for the information she's passing on to students.
I would ultimately love for them to leave this classroom, and the next time they're grocery shopping with their parents and they see a label, actually have a really intelligent conversation with their parents and have them be the teachers teaching their parents about what they've learned and taking that just into their everyday lives, because the science class shouldn't end when they leave this classroom. It should be every day in their daily life.